Hey, it's Sri here. In today's video, I'm going to talk you through the steps that you need to take if your husband has said that he wants a divorce. Now, if your husband has said that he wants a divorce and you're feeling completely overwhelmed or fearful and scared about the impact that's going to have on your family, I promise you're not alone, and I know how incredibly painful it is for you right now. Not just because I've had to go through relationship challenges in the past myself, but also because of all of the clients that I've worked with and seen the pain that they are in at the very beginning when I started working with them. So look, I want to be of service to you if I can in any particular way. So what I'd actually recommend you do is, in the description section below, there's a link to register for my free masterclass training. The masterclass training is going to talk you through the 3 steps that my client Sarah used to be able to save her marriage in less than 60 days. Her husband had cheated on her. She was in a really intense period of her life, and she was able to overcome a lot of that using some simple yet powerful strategies that were able to help her to be able to save her marriage in a really short space of time. So once again, all you need to do to access that training, in the description section below, just click on that link where it says register for this masterclass, and just register for a time that suits you, and then you can come along, keep an open mind, and you'll get plenty of really amazing tips and tricks and strategies as well that you can begin to apply immediately. Make sure you stick around to the very end of that training as well, so you get access to a free gift that I have for you as well. Now make sure you hit that subscribe button below and click on that bell notification as well, so every week you get access to my latest videos teaching you specifics on how to save your marriage, how to become the best version of you, and really how to get deep into male psychology as well, so that you can adjust and adapt your approach to your marriage so that your husband is drawn to you rather than him distancing himself and constantly looking for happiness and joy in other areas other than the marriage. Now, if your husband said those words, "I want a divorce," I know it's the most crushing thing that you could possibly hear from your husband, especially when you've built a life together. It's not just a case of impacting the two of you, it's impacting your children, your finances, extended family, and so on. So it's obviously a hugely painful moment in your life, and for that I'm really sorry that you're having to go through it. But what's been really interesting is over the last 2 weeks I've had 3 clients of mine message me and tell me that their husbands have actually come back after separating with them or effectively wanting a divorce. And in 2 of those instances, those husbands had actually been with other women, and that was the reason why they had actually left. So if you are on the receiving end of that, it's so painful, but I do want you to remember that there is hope. There really is hope. Now, some of you may have heard that and thought, you know what, if he's cheated on me, to hell with him, he's out. Some of you might be thinking, look, I used to think like that, but now that I'm in that moment and in that experience, I don't want to lose my husband. And so if you're in that boat where you're really wanting to save this marriage, then what I wanted to do today is I want to talk you through 3 important steps that you need to be taking in order to maximize your chances of saving your marriage, but also healing in the process as well. Because when a husband cheats on you or says he wants a divorce, that has a massive impact mentally and emotionally. And I want to make sure that we help you to go through the healing process so that you're able to come out the other end. And even if your husband does come back, you're not still scarred and wounded and so forth. Or you're able to fast track that healing process. Now, the first step that you need to make sure that you apply is to really believe that it is possible to make those changes. Now, in my line of work, people book in for regular consultation calls. And what's really interesting is that on occasions, I do see people who are motivated, who are ready to jump into things. And then at the last minute, they cancel the call. Now, this is very normal because often what happens is by the time someone's actually booked in, they're in a very desperate place while they're looking for help and they're wanting help. And then what happens is they might get a message from the husband, or what may have happened is throughout the course of the day, they're in a negative emotional state. They may have found out some more information about potentially the affair, or they may have just decided in their own mind that, you know what, there's just no chance. He doesn't seem to be interested in any capacity. So you know what? There's just no point in me even trying anymore. He's given up, he's finished. But what happens, you see, is that even when people are in that state, they'll tend to fluctuate a lot. They'll go from feeling like there is a hope to no pure despair, that it's not possible. And all that does is it leaves you in this place where you're constantly wobbling because you're not sure whether you should go down a path of wanting to save it or whether you actually should just walk away or whether there's just no chance. So you're always in this sort of limbo place, and that really causes a huge amount of problems because you're neither here nor there. You're never in a place where you're actually able to take action that's going to guide and direct you in the right way. And also, when we're in a highly emotional state, we typically make pretty poor decisions, whether that's in the form of the way in which we communicate with our husband or the way in which we treat ourselves in terms of just looking after ourselves and self-care and things like that, or it just maybe in terms of the decisions that are required in order to move forward and progress on this journey that you're on at this moment in time and manage the pain and the difficulty of these circumstances. So it's always really difficult to maintain any sense of clarity if you don't have any sense of belief either. So it's really important to find that belief, to find that hope. And that's the reason why I have some of these videos, to encourage you all to recognize that there is hope. Yes, there are some instances where, marriages may not work out, but one of the things you have to do is you've got to explore all your options and all your possibilities before you get to that point and say, you know what, I'm out. But on the other side of the fence is this incredible opportunity, which these moments are. I know it's intensely painful. I promise you, I hear about it every single day. I know what it's like. But I'm telling you now that if you're able to take an approach which is genuinely all about how you can grow and how you can become better and how all of the challenges that have come in the relationship have compounded over time to get to this point where it's like a cataclysmic event, if you recognize that rather than just coming out of the blue, then there is a huge opportunity for growth, but also a huge opportunity for potential transformation within the marriage as well. Now, as I said, 3 incredible women who I've worked with at different stages over the last 6 months have experienced the most extraordinary transformation. How did they do that? They firstly had a level of belief and hope that transformation was possible. And that came from having courage to take action, and it came from the courage to not listen to that voice inside that's saying, you know what, nah, there's just no hope. I give up. He's going to do whatever he wants, and I'm just going to try and bury myself in my work or, my kids or other areas. So let's just hope and pray to God and hope that it all works out. That sort of mindset is never going to result in the transformation that you need. You've got to have a level of belief and hope that it is possible, even if it's just one tiny mustard seed of belief inside. If you think about all the great sportsmen and all the great entrepreneurs and all these people, they had an insane amount of belief in themselves. Even when all the odds were stacked against them, even when no one else believed it was possible, they believed. So you've got to have a level of belief that transformation is really possible. And the worst case scenario, that even if the marriage didn't work out and you end up growing and you heal from it, then what's going to happen is that you're not going to be hurt, you're not going to be bitter, you're not going to be angry. You're going to recognize that this was all part of a bigger plan to help you to elevate the kind of person that you are, and then in the long run you'll end up in a marriage or a relationship that's actually going to be for your highest good. And that's the greatest gift that you possibly can give yourself as well. The second step is all about making sure that you have a strong enough reason to work on the marriage. If you don't have a strong enough reason, you will not put the work in, plain and simple. You've got to have a really strong enough reason, because what will happen is when it comes to working on a marriage, it is not easy. In the sense that when you're actually putting the work in, you're going to have moments where you fluctuate emotionally. And so there are going to be times where you feel like, yep, I've got this. I know I can make some big changes. I truly believe in this. And there are going to be other times where you think, you know what? This is hopeless. I can't do this. Or you're going to be emotionally drained from time to time as well. Now the problem is that if you don't have a strong enough reason to work on this marriage, to save the marriage and all of that stuff, then what will happen is during those moments of fluctuations, you're going to just veer off course too quickly. You're not going to be able to stay the course. You're not going to be able to put all of the work in that you need to, because emotionally you're going to fluctuate. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. It's not like you're broken or anything like that. That's a very normal part of the process. But just like any area of our lives, if we want to achieve something, we've got to have a strong enough reason to do it. And if part of that is, I have to save my family, it is the most important thing in my life, I've got to do it, then that's fantastic. If it's, I genuinely love this man and I want to make it work because I believe that he is the man for me, he is my soulmate, and I don't want to lose it, great. If that's, I need to make sure that no matter what, I heal and grow through this whole journey, because if I don't, then what's going to happen is I'm just going to carry that on to the next relationship or the next marriage, etc. Then that's also wonderful if that's the most important thing for you. So you have to get clear, what is the most important thing in your life right now? Is it your kids? Is it your personal growth? Is it your love for him? Whatever it is, you've got to have a strong enough reason to work on it. Because if you don't have a strong enough reason, you simply will not put the work that you need to put into it. And 6 months down the track, 1 year down the track, 2 years down the track, whatever, you won't have actually grown much at all, because there hasn't been that motivating force that said, right, I need to address this. It's all about the intensity that comes up in terms of that reason. If you have a strong enough feeling associated with that reason, you will do whatever it takes. If you don't, and if you feel like your negative beliefs, like I'm not good enough or I don't think this is going to work, etc., if they overpower it, then you simply will not make the changes that you need to. So make sure you have a strong enough reason why. And the third step is to focus on your own healing, which is to say it's important to open the heart. You see, when someone has gone off and cheated, our immediate perception is, how dare they, how could they do such a thing, and so on. And look, just to be clear, they shouldn't have done that, plain and simple. But if we're honest with ourselves, we have to look at this and say, well, how has the marriage unfolded over the last 5, 10, 15, 20 years? Has it actually been at the level that it was right at the beginning? Did things change maybe after you had kids? And you may have found that you guys didn't spend as much time with each other. You were so caught up in other aspects of life, work and parenting and so on, that you didn't nurture and feed the marriage part of it as best as you can, and so on. There's many different factors, and we're all human beings and we're all emotional creatures. And the thing is that this is not a logical game. There's no logic involved, I can promise you that. We may look at this stuff and say, yeah, okay, logically he's got everything he wants. Logically, I gave him freedom. Logically, we had moments of lovely intimacy and so on. We've got these beautiful kids and beautiful house and so on. But emotionally, the question is, are certain needs being met? So we have to look at this as an opportunity for our own healing and ask ourselves, how can we open our heart? How can we show more empathy? How can we show more compassion? And if we apply more of that into the marriage, it means that we're starting to see this person as a human being with flaws, just like we all do as human beings, rather than this cold and calculated kind of machine that went out and did these horrible things, and then it kind of results in us stepping into that victim mentality, which might be hard to hear, but it does happen a lot if you are falling into that category. So I really want you to remind yourself of the fact that true healing from within is such an important part. And not only is it about opening the heart, but it's about recognizing that you are enough just as you are, and that you are worthy of love, and that you're an amazing human being just as you are, but also recognize, what are the areas that I can improve on as a person as well? Do I need to improve in terms of my communication? Do I need to improve in setting boundaries? Do I need to learn to speak my truth more? Have I always found myself just being really reserved and being afraid to be my authentic self? There's always huge opportunities for growth, and a relationship will always create that opportunity for you. Unfortunately, sometimes it does require us to have to go through some pretty heavy stuff in order to grow. But that's what I really believe is our mission on this earth, is to become the best versions of ourselves. And a relationship is a wonderful teacher for that. Now, I know sometimes that, finding clarity, finding hope, finding a strong enough reason, and doing a lot of the healing work can be really, really confusing because you're in a highly emotional state. So I understand that, and my heart goes out to you. And It's kind of the reason why I do what I do, because I want to be of service to you and help you in any way that I possibly can, whether that's through these YouTube videos or whether that's through my masterclass training, or whether you want to potentially be a part of my Authentic Relationship System training program as well, which is an incredible program geared towards helping you out, not just in your marriage, but in your life as well, and really helping you to learn more about male psychology, because there really are some big differences between men and women when it comes to marriages. So, if you are wanting to learn a little bit more about how I can possibly help you and how I can be of service to you and help you to really grow and heal and transform on this journey, then what I'd recommend you do is just in the description section below, you'll see a link to access my free training, which is all about how my client Sarah was able to save her marriage in less than 60 days using these 3 steps. If you just click on that link where it says register for this masterclass, you can choose a time that works for you. I suggest you go through that material first and watch all of that in its entirety. And then at the end of the video, I'm going to make sure I give you a free gift that you'll absolutely love and will be something that's going to be really, really valuable in terms of your growth long term as well. So thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you've liked it, make sure you hit the like button below. If you want to get more videos like this, make sure you hit the subscribe button. And also do let me know what your biggest takeaway is from this video as well. I always love getting comments, so just make sure you click the comment section below and write down your biggest takeaway, and I'll make sure I respond to all of your messages as well. And if you want to learn how to stop emasculating your husband, just click this video above. And if you want to learn how to give him space in a classy way, then click this video above. Thank you so much, and I'll talk to you in the next video.